always wanted to write a novel. So ever since I was a little child, I would write short stories. And when I was about 8, I found a typewriter at a jumble sale and I took it home and I typed up all my short stories and I drew pictures to go alongside them. And from that moment on, I thought I was a professional. And then over the years, I wrote more and longer stories until eventually, when the pandemic happened, I decided it was now or never. If I was ever going to be a novelist, I needed to get to work. I love murder mysteries. So I started work as a librarian and I was a very nerdy teenager and I thought I had to make my way through all the classics. But all my customers were reading murder mysteries. So they'd come to the counter with a huge pile of like 7 books, and then 7 days later they would come back and get another pile of 7 books, all kinds of crime, true crime, Nordic noir, classic crime. So I asked them for some recommendations and soon I was hooked on murder mysteries too. So I wanted to bring the genre that I loved and combine it with my hero, Jane Austen. Jane Austen was a hugely determined person. So she didn't have an easy path to publication. She, like me, wrote stories from when she was a little girl and carried on writing. And it wasn't until her early 30s, after she'd been through some difficult times where she must have felt like giving up, that she finally got published. And I was so inspired by her journey. I really wanted to share that with others as well, especially because she did it with such good grace. She always laughed at herself and the world around her and always was so joyful. And she was particularly irreverent towards those who really should be her superiors in society. And I thought, really, those are the qualities which make a perfect detective. It's funny because we think that women were on display in the Regency times, but I think we've started to live that same way again through social media, where we're constantly putting ourselves on display and inviting others to critique our actions and our thoughts. So I think that there's quite a lot in common with the way that she lived, always feeling like she had to adhere to societal rules and check her behaviour, with the way that we behave now in the 21st century. All of them. But I think if you've never read any Jane Austen before, Northanger Abbey is a great place to start. So it's the least edited of her novels, so it's most reflective of her early work. And it's a great kind of YA story. It's really about friendships, and it's a book about books. So the main character, Catherine Morland, is so obsessed with the horrid Gothic novels of her time that she thinks that maybe she's the heroine of one and starts investigating all around her. Absolutely, as many as you'll let me write. So there was so much that I wanted to say about Jane Austen that what I decided to do was to break them down into separate books and plan it as a series right from the start. So absolutely, many more to come.